Hi, welcome back. In today's tutorial, you're going to learn how to handle Stripe Webhook event to store payment details. One of my subscribers has asked for this tutorial, so I see it's going to benefit a lot of people. So before we start, let me show you my starter files. In this tutorial, we're going to focus mainly on the webhook. So this is the webhook PHP file and the database connection because we'll be storing our payment details in our database. All right, so before we start, we are going to head over here. In order to set up and deploy a webhook, the first thing we need to do is to set up our endpoints in our Stripe dashboard, then also add our Stripe PHP library. You can use the vendor folder which is gotten via the composer, or you can install the Stripe PHP library from the downloaded file from GitHub. So if you go to GitHub, click on this link to take you where you can download that. I already have that in my starter files, the Stripe PHP master folder, which is this. Okay, this folder, and we'll be including this file, this init.php file. All right, first thing we're going to do, we're going to head over to our Stripe dashboard. So this is our Stripe dashboard. If you click on developers, then click on webhooks. So the first thing we're going to do is to add our endpoint. So we are going to add our endpoint. Since in this tutorial we're going to be testing this on our live server instead of on our local host, so we're going to add a domain name that is already online. Okay, then with the webhook.php file. All right, so this is the file we'll be working on. So description will be any name you want to use to describe it. So I will just call it payments webhook. Here we're going to be selecting different types of events that we'll be working on. For this tutorial, we'll be working on two basic events. That will be charge.succeeded and charge.failed. Charge.succeeded. This event, and we're going to click on add endpoint. We can update that and add more endpoints. Charge.failed. Okay, update. All right, that's just about it. So the next thing we're going to do is to head back here. So this is the sample scripts, the Stripe documentation that we'll be needing for this. So this is the basic documentation for this. But we want to handle this request whereby Stripe will send their signature. Will be sure that the webhook event being sent to our database is actually coming from Stripe. So we're going to go back and check for signature. So this is what we'll be needing. Okay, so this script is what we'll be needing for this tutorial. But before then, like we said, all right, this is my webhook.php file, and this is my database connection. Okay, so we are also going to require this file, require function, the Stripe PHP. What's the name of the folder? Stripe PHP master. Okay, Stripe PHP master, then init.php file. That's the file we'll be requiring. Head back. Okay, we'll be needing all this code. Just going to copy all that, then paste. The reason why we added our database connection here is because when the if, when we listen to the Stripe events, we'll be storing our payment details to our database. So that's why we had to include the database connection right there. Okay. All right, it is looking good. Remember, this is my test secret key. It's already there because I've already logged into my Stripe dashboard. Want to go back. We're going to leave this as require underscore once so it doesn't run twice. All right, so it says here if you are testing your webhook locally with the Stripe CLI, we're not testing it locally with the Stripe CLI. We'll be doing that on a live server on our cPanel. Okay, you can find the endpoint secret by running Stripe listen. Otherwise, find your endpoint secret in your webhook settings in the developer dashboard. Okay, if we'll go back to, so this is where we can find our endbook. Copy that, paste it right there. Okay. So what next? Next thing we're going to do is to scroll down. So these are the different events: payment underscore intent.succeeded. Remember, in our dashboard, the what we have there is charge.failed and charge.succeeded. So that is what we'll be working with. All right. So we're going to go over to our Stripe API reference to get our charge object. All right. So this is it. So here, this is where we're going to be accessing the different parameters that we will need to get from our charge. So here they use the switch statement. Okay. So the first one we'll call it charge.succeeded. Okay. So I want to just clean that. But before then, this event, when it's being vadumped, these are the responses we are going to get. So we're going to be, this is what we're going to be assessing, all these parameters, although not everything. So we're going to be looking at trying to fetch the charge ID. Okay, so just define a variable, call it ID. Then the event variable, then data, pass through the data, then the object. So that's the charge object. All right. So this object, then ID. Okay. So this is going to get this ID. So next thing else we'll be needing is the amount. Define a variable, just call it amount. Then the event, this event, the data, then the object. Let me copy that because we'll be needing it mostly. So in order to access the amount, we can get this amount or the captured amount. All right, so you can go with any of it. So the name is what? Amount underscore captured. So it's called amount underscore captured, semicolon. Then next thing up, what do we need? What else can we get from here? What else can we get from here? We can get the currency. Okay, so we'll define a variable, call it, let me scroll this up, call it currency. Then currency. After that, we can get what can we get from the customer? We can get the customer email. Okay. Where can we find the customer's email? Where can we find the customer's email? Sorry. Okay, so here is the customer email. Is this what recipient underscore email? So define a variable, just call it cause underscore email. So it's called recipients underscore email. You have to be very careful with the spelling. Receipts underscore email, not recipient, sorry. So it's called receipts. All right, I think it's correct now. Then close our code. Then lastly, what can we get from that charge object? So this charge object is also the same thing with to capture a charge, right? They are all still the same. What else can we get? We can get the customer's name. Okay. So but this name is under billing details. So pass through the billing details, then we get to the email. All right. So the name of the variable is name. Paste that billing underscore details. Then after billing underscore details, what else do we have? We'll have name. This name. Okay, name. All right, that's just about it. So with this switch statement, after the payment intent succeeded event is being handled, okay, when the handle payment intent is succeeded, this function is being handled. The next case is what charge.succeeded. So when it is succeeded, that means our payment is successful. Then I'm going to use prepare statement to store our payment details in our database. All right, so just define a variable, call it statement. Remember, our database connection is Archcon. From here, this Archcon. All right, so this is our database name is affiliate, so we'll need to change that. It might change when we go on our live server, the database name, so you have to bear that in mind. It might not be the same with yours. So Archcon, we're going to be using prepare statement now to avoid SQL injection. Prepare statement function, then insert. I've already created my database table with the fields, required fields. Insert into payments underscore success. So I have a table named payment underscore sources. So this is the structure. Payment underscore sources. Okay. Then first, what I have first there is what transaction ID, which is also known as the charge ID. Okay. Then second is amount, currency, customer email, and name. Okay, amount, currency, customer email, and name. Right. Then values. The values will be what? The values will be question mark. So how many parameters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 5. Okay. Remember to end every line with a semicolon. Now we're going to bind our parameter. Bind underscore param function. So for our transaction ID to be a string or charge ID, so this is what I'm talking about. For this charge ID, in order to capture that, this charge ID, but the name in the database table is, in my database, is transaction ID. So for string, the amount is an integer, so we'll leave it at D double. Currency, USD, leave it at string. My customer email is string, my name is string. All right. So that is it. Now we're going to pass our variables. So accordingly, in sequential order, ID, amount, currency, customer email, then name. Remember, it ends with semicolon. Now we're going to execute our statement using execute function. So using execute function, I will use an if statement. If the statement variable, if it did not execute, if there's an error, just echo. Although we're not going to see that echo, but just for coding, there was an error. SQLi from the error function for debugging database connection. So for good practice, we're going to close our statement and also close our connection. Close function, database connection. All right. So next thing is, we can add, since it's a switch statement, we can add many cases, as you may call it. We'll just copy this, paste it there. So remember, what we have in our dashboard is charge.failed. The table name is payment underscore failed. I think that's what we have here. Sorry. We have the table name payment underscore failed. All right. So they are almost the same thing. All right. I think that's just about it. Save that. We'll be heading over to our browser to test our scripts. I think it's looking good. All right. So remember, I've done this tutorial previously on Stripe checkout preview payment integration. This tutorial is just basically on Stripe Webhook event to store payment details in our database. Okay, so we're making our payment to choose any of these products. So we're going to click on buy now for the middle product. So this is going to head us to Stripe checkout payment page to make our payment. Like I said earlier, the event will be sent to our server, okay, our online server, not on our local host, because we are not installing the Stripe CLI. Remember, if you have any questions, don't forget to ask me in the comment section. Like this video if you have gotten value up to this stage. So we're going to be adding our email. So this is our email. Card information for Stripe test card is 424242. Okay, then any dates in the future, then CVV, any number. For the name on card, let's just call it Joe Biden. Okay, take that. Country is the United States, but we'll just take Namibia. All right, I think it's looking good now. And then click on pay. It should take us to our success page. Good. The payment has been successful. So let's check our dashboard to check if we got the payment in our dashboard. All right, we can see succeeded. Now we're now going to head over to our online server. Remember, you need to make some changes on your database connection because it might be different from yours. Like what we have here, the database connection name is Afriye's underscore charity. Okay, but what we are concentrating on these two tables, the payment underscore success and the payment underscore what failed. So we want to click on this to see if we got our payment details inserted in our database. Yes, it worked as expected. So this is the charge ID, although I named it transaction ID. This is the amount, $50. Remember, it is in cents, so it's 5,000 cents. Currency is in USD. Customer email is my email. The name is Joe Biden. Good. Please give me a thumbs up if you have got some value from this. If you have learned a new thing, if you have learned how to store the payments details in your database using Stripe Webhook events. All right. So we can head back and maybe try maybe failed event if we want to do that. Okay. So this takes us back to Stripe checkout page. My network is a bit slow. Okay, we'll just add our email. Online payment. I want to get the test card for failed payments. Can't remember where I can find that. I think it's somewhere here. All right, for the payment is declined. I think that's the test card. Copy that, paste. Any dates in the future. See if any 3-digit number. Then Let me just use the name Eddie Murphy. Country New Zealand. They make payments. You see what's going to happen. Your card has insufficient fund. Please try a different card. Good. Let's see whether it's going to return anything on our payment field table. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it did. So the event was sent and we got that in our database. The amount is zero because the customer doesn't have sufficient balance, so he was not charged. So that's where the charge.failed event case runs. Okay. USD, this is the customer's email and the name Eddie Murphy, just like as we have here. All right, guys, thanks for watching. This is not supposed to be a long video, but what can I say? Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like this video, share it with your friends, and I will see you guys next time. All right, bye bye.